Thank you PCBWay for sponsoring this video. This is a refurbished Creality K1SE Core XY printer. It is their most entry-level and cheapest printer they offer in the Core XY format. While it was cheap, especially refurbished, I did pay for that in other ways, mostly with my time. Reddit and YouTube seem to have a lot of horror stories with Creality Refurbished. I've heard anything from used printers that were damaged, repackaged, and sent out, but I've also seen stories where they're basically brand new printers to where you are taking the peel off the screen yourself. There's no camera, there's no walls. The marketing materials has a cable chain, but this one doesn't. I don't know if that's an iteration or just something I can throw on to Refurbished. Doesn't have. One of the features I was excited for the most was the ability to cancel single objects should you be printing multiple. Until now, let's say I'm making hooks for something to put on the wall. I would put 24 of them on my Cobra 3 Max and print. And if one started to come off the print bed or had an issue, it just kind of cascades into the other objects failing too. You've probably had that happen to yourself. Creality advertises that this one, should I have 9 Benchies on here and one starts to fail, I can cancel that one Benchy here and the other 8 continue to print normally. What I want to do is step through the issues we had, how to fix it, and whether I recommend it or not. Spoiler, maybe not for a newbie, but if you know how to fix this stuff, it can be an excellent printer. Got to start with the unboxing or it'll be a short video if I leave it in there. Easy enough to pull out. It's all one unit, nicely padded, all the accessories in a single box. No complaints here. Comes with the screen, tools like flush cutters, scraper, power cord, spool holder. You know what's in here. I could probably plug it in right now and meet their 3-minute requirement for power on, but who does that before installing the screen? Once that is installed, we'll slide it onto the mount, get our spool holder in, and then we can start powering it on. I do want to clean the bed. It's a smooth plate, not textured at all like most other printers, and it had some smudge on there. There are 3 screws you need to remove that secure the bed in the down position. Won't be doing much printing if you leave these in there. Once we get into setup, it's easy enough. Agree to their terms, select your Wi-Fi, enter your password, and then you will need the app to bind the printer to your Creality account. Once all that's done, you'll run a full calibration, and after our calibration is complete, we're going to start our first print. I'm going to run into my first refurbished issue here. I'm using the white included filament, and if you look closely, it's not white filament coming out. So this was clearly a used printer that they repackaged because there's still some red filament in there. So we'll peel it off, and you can see how there was some leftover filament. So let's start it again after clearing that out. The sharp-eyed among you can see there's already some layer issues, and I haven't even zoomed in on it yet. There is another issue we get to solve, but that's in the next part. Before we fix our printer, I want to tell you about PCBWay. PCBWay offers 3D printing, CNC machining, custom PCBs, and even PCB assembly. These are just a few services available to you to get your project into production. You can get a quote just by uploading your file, so use my link below in the description to get $5 off your first order. We saw the terrible Benchy, and now we get to print a terrible overhang test. The only hint I'll give you is that you can technically see the issue from this footage. So if you think you know what it is, leave it in the comments. Okay, time's up. If you guessed non-functional fan, then you'd be right. This Creality refurbished K1SE printer came from their refurbishment center with not only leftover filament in the nozzle, which can be excusable if it was for testing, but also a non-functional cooling fan resulting in some pretty awful prints. To a newcomer to the hobby, this may not be an obvious issue, So this could really sour somebody wanting to try 3D printing and saving some money at the same time. So I didn't actually know it at this point, but obviously that fan was bad, disconnected, or an issue with the PCB on the print head, but we have to dig in there to find out. At the bottom, there's a screw on each side, then you can lift the front cover up. Turns out the fan was unplugged, which is a serious relief because that's the best outcome, and I was way outside my eBay return window by now. So we'll just plug it back in, screw the cover back on, and let's try these prints again. I couldn't be more relieved. This was the best possible outcome knowing I had this issue. I'm sure bigger issues would mean better content, but this tiny channel gets a monthly stipend of peanuts as payment. So I'd appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe so we can upgrade to some cashews. These benchies and overhangs look great, so we can start to move on to more tests and comparisons with my other printers. Again, the Creality K1SE is the most entry-level Core XY printer they offer, but let's go over some specs while we reprint some new test objects. In the US anyway, it has an MSRP of $360, but currently on sale for $260. I got this one refurbished for $170, but eBay coupons have made this as low as $150, which to me is an insane deal. Like the more flagship K series, it has a 600mm per second print speed with the correct filament. You'll want high-speed filament. Auto leveling, vibration compensation, and a metal frame with supports to keep things rigid. While I'm not exploring it in this video, Creality does claim its OS is open source and based on Clipper. It doesn't come with a camera, but for about $25 you can add time-lapse and AI error detection. The build volume is smaller at 220mm cubed, but these seem like small compromises for a Core XY printer at this price point. Since there is no enclosure, you'll be printing primarily in PLA and PETG, but again, at this price, you're probably just printing those materials anyway. It does have filament runout detection, which I've tested with this skeleton here, and it works great, as expected. Let's compare the good prints versus the same test prints on my other printers. Can you guess which one is the K1SE? I'll give you a second. Alright, it's this one here. And when it comes to Benchy, it looks good. Just like the other printers, as I've stated before, at a certain price, you're paying for features instead of obvious print quality. I guess this is still an all-in-one test, but I'm more interested in the overhangs. I'd have you guess again, but it's the same spot, and looking straight ahead at this object has the least amount of warping at the bottom, which I found super interesting. This is using the same filament too. The K1SE also has the best overhang at the very tippy top. I honestly didn't expect the quality to beat my P1S, but only by a tiny amount. This would likely change if I did a 1-year review on this printer. Alright, time to print for fun. While playing with the kids, I realized that Legos could be an amazing quality test, since Lego has crazy tolerances to ensure quality and backwards compatibility. So can a 3D printer come close? Well, this one did. It was harder to press the Legos into actual Lego brand Legos, but it was serviceable. Lots of stringing on the print, and didn't do great on the piece with holes in the middle, but again, it's serviceable, and I would use my 3D printer to print unique Legos instead of purchasing. Last feature test is the option to cancel objects. I found a little balloon dog, which doesn't really show well in all black, but the print would take about 30 minutes to do, and I canceled a few of them at different intervals. This can only be done in the desktop application in my experience. Once you cancel an object, the head will move to it, hesitate, thinking to itself, wait, no, and move on. It was kind of cool, and I hope others implement this too. You can't do this with all objects though. I tried to cancel that Lego with the holes in it, but it wouldn't let me, so your mileage may vary due to how close the objects were, but that's just my speculation. I don't know why I couldn't cancel that one. Last fun print is a dragon egg, a baby dragon the kids have been asking for. Using the most generic brand rainbow silk filament I could find on Amazon, it handled it just fine. I'll link the rainbow filament I used in the description below. I don't know what its target quality level was before purchasing, but I wanted an off-brand filament test. Not much to say. Kids are already playing vet and hatching dragons. I may have lizards in my future, but I also have no concerns about off-brand filament in my K1SE.